Super fight at Femmes Fatales Volume 8. Lufisto set to do battle with an absolute legend of professional wrestling, Jazz. Jazz's accolades, competing in so many big promotions, collecting championships, solidifying herself as a top wrestler anywhere she's been. But now coming to Femmes Fatales and taking on Lufisto. And of course, Lufisto will benefit from that home court advantage. Jazz trying to take the crowd out of it. Locks up with Lufisto. But Jazz does have some fan support of her own right. Deservedly so. Takes Lufisto into the corner. Referee trying to warn Jazz about the hair, but Jazz has been around the block several times over and knows all the tricks. Lufisto with the lockup takes Jazz into the corner. Raises the hands for the clean break, but leaves herself wide open for the strike from Jazz. Jazz charges, Lufisto ducks, takes Jazz over with an arm drag. Japanese arm drag. Lufisto unloading on Jazz. Goes behind, grabs the waist. Lufisto takes Jazz to the canvas, but Jazz trying to break free. Jazz takes Lufisto over, hooked the leg, then applies the front face lock and immediately switches over into the chancery. Jazz switches over, Lufisto switches out. Jazz takes her down to the canvas and covers, only gets two. Jazz continuing to apply the pressure, now goes for the wrist and twists the arm of Lufisto. Pulls down, Lufisto trying to find whatever she can do to get out of this. Lufisto at the mercy of Jazz. Lufisto switches around, goes to the waist of Jazz. Strength of Jazz too much for Lufisto, but takes her to the ropes. Jazz holds on, throws the back elbow. Follows over the hard kick and another one, this time to the body, another to the body. Oof, big spinning back kick from Jazz, drops Lufisto. Jazz steps on Lufisto on the bottom rope. Jazz is proving to be too much for Lufisto. Jazz seemingly having her way with Lufisto at this part of the matchup. Trapping her on the ropes, the referee with the count. Crossface forearms. Jazz goes to the outside, slams Lufisto into the apron. Lufisto's got to start doing something. Jazz with the elbow. Follows up with a big boot to the side of the head. The multi-time champion. Jazz is just showing Lufisto why she's an absolute force in wrestling. Lufisto's comeback matchup after dropping the Femme Fatale International Championship to Calamity at the previous Femme Fatale show and not faring so well. But Lufisto surprises Jazz, hits the flatliner into the middle turnbuckle. Best moment Lufisto's had in quite some time in this matchup is laying it on Jazz. Another hard chop to the chest. Lufisto sending Jazz in the corner. Jazz meets her with the uppercut. Face buster one-handed. Only two. Now Jazz toying with Lufisto. Maybe getting a little too overconfident. Lufisto still has a fight left. The first ever Femmes Fatales International Champion. Not to be embarrassed by Jazz. Knee to the stomach. Jazz going for that championship belt she came out with. But Lufisto had the same idea. And this matchup over? Oh, not this. Both Lufisto and Jazz grabbing championship belts. They came out with it. Oh, come on now. This will be a no contest, but Jazz and Lufisto still going to fight it out. Referee Patrice calling for the bell. As Lufisto and Jazz, the match is over, but the fight's going to continue. Not the outcome these fans wanted, but things got too heated, and now security getting involved. Matchup being thrown out because of double disqualification. The crowd still wants these two to fight as Jazz gets out of the ring, and Lufisto not happy with this, but we introduce outside objects. An unfortunate turn of events, but these things happen. Wait a minute. Jazz has a microphone.
Now, if you think I came all the way from Louisiana to Montreal to lose with a DQ, you know what I gotta say about you and your rules. But let me tell you something, Lufisto. I see you want to go a little extreme tonight.
Oh boy.
But you must have forgot, I'm the bitch that started all this shit. So if you want to go extreme, baby, do you want to go extreme? I'm ready to go extreme. I am extreme.
Whoa. Jazz and Lufisto about to be restarted, but under extreme rules, no disqualification. Jazz telling Lufisto, you want to turn it up in the violence? I can do that, as she enters the ring and is immediately met by Lufisto. Tough as nails competitor. Jazz and Lufisto in a lot of her own rights. A trendsetter for sure is Jazz, but then again, so's Lufisto. They tried having a nice, clean wrestling match, but now they're just going to have a straight-up extreme war. Jazz getting one of the event staff out of the way. Lufisto reverses, sends Jazz into the guardrail. Lufisto follows up, nothing there. Jazz grabs a chair and slams it into the back of Lufisto. Follows up again. And again. Relentless assault from Jazz. Jazz goes for another chair. This one goes into the ring. Jazz just introducing so many chairs into this matchup. They hit each other with belts. Matchup was called for a double disqualification, but now we have a restart under no disqualification rules. And Jazz is going to have some fun. Hits the leg drop, chairs littering the ring. Drops an elbow. Jazz saying it, she didn't come all the way from Louisiana to Montreal to have a non-finish. Wants to prove a point in her Femme Fatale debut. Wants to show that she can be dominant in Montreal just as she's been everywhere else. Lufisto goes to the ropes. Jazz turns her attention away. It was a ploy from Lufisto. Lufisto with some quick pins. Lufisto now applying a dragon sleeper. Referee checking on Jazz. Jazz breathing hard, but able to grab a hold of the hair of Lufisto. Throws some knees. Lufisto lets go, goes to the top of the head of Jazz. Butterfly suplex plants Jazz. Jazz's legs catching one of the chairs. Almost puts it away. Jazz snapmare over. Lufisto goes to the back to the chest. Comes off the ropes, sliding clothesline. But again, Jazz gets the shoulder up. Frustration starting to mount. Lufisto goes for one of the chairs. Lufisto setting up the chair into a corner. Goes back to Jazz. Oof, lays it in with the chops. Lufisto reversed, stops herself in time. Jazz with a big clothesline, knocks Lufisto into the chair. Lufisto in a daze. Jazz with some jabs. Lufisto almost out on her feet. The big wind-up and connect from Jazz. Jazz drops down for the cover, but Lufisto still has some left. Jazz going for a chair herself. Misses Lufisto. Lufisto sends Jazz into a chair. Jazz on the bottom turnbuckle in some serious pain. Lufisto charges in with the knees. Lufisto setting up a chair over Jazz. Momentum switch into the favor of Lufisto, and the cannonball in the chair, slamming into Jazz. Lufisto close to putting this one away. Covers. Foot on the bottom rope. Lufisto frustrated with the survival of Jazz throwing so much at her, but sliding boot as Jazz was over the bottom rope. Lufisto goes out to the floor, grabs a hold of Jazz, brings her out. Lufisto with some forearms. Jazz, however, surprises Lufisto, goes for the eyes. Lufisto up against the guardrail. Jazz delivers the chop. Another one. Jazz grabs the chair, hits Lufisto with it right in the head. Follows up by throwing it down to the back of Lufisto. Jazz getting interactive with the crowd. Goes back to Lufisto, continuing the beating on the outside of the ring, and sends Lufisto up and over the guardrail into the crowd. Fans may want to be very careful. Jazz grabs a hold of Lufisto, sends her face first into a chair. Lufisto reverses, sends Jazz flying. Lufisto returned the favor, launching a chair to the head of Jazz. Both fighting towards the direction of the entrance ramp. Lufisto grabs. Oh! Jazz blocks. Suplexes Lufisto onto the entrance ramp. Lufisto initially trying to start that, but Jazz too strong, turns it around, slams Lufisto. Lufisto sent into the ring. Jazz follows in, covers. Lufisto still has something left. Jazz whips Lufisto, turns around, but Jazz takes her down and locks on the STF. Lufisto screaming out in pain. Jazz has it cinched in. Wrenching away, referee checking on Lufisto, seeing what she wants to do with this. Lufisto getting closer, but Jazz has it locked on, but Lufisto grabs the bottom rope. Jazz lets go. Lufisto sets up a chair. Another one. Lufisto lifted up. Jazz. Oh. Lufisto immediately caught by a kick, and Jazz stinger into the chairs. Lufisto down. Jazz not following up right away. Jazz looking to put it away. Lufisto laid out. Jazz grabs a hold of her. Lifts her up. Lufisto slides off again. Hooks Jazz in the swinging SDO. Right to the chairs. The referee counts, and Lufisto puts this away. Lufisto getting the victory. Defeating an absolute legend of wrestling in Jazz. Celebrating with Peekaboo. Have a lot to celebrate after that one, for sure. Alright, fans, thank you for watching this episode of Femmes Fatales Flashback. Once again, your support means so much. See you soon.
EC Dub.
Yeah.